I wanted a career in gardening, horticulture, so I went and worked for a garden centre. I wanted to be outside in the fresh air and enjoying those kinds of things. So it was an enjoyable time. I really didn't have any trouble with my MS or anything. It seemed to just be ticking along all right, although like there sometimes was a vague tingling in my fingertips.
At the time I was a lecturer in theatre arts. I used to teach acting and so on, so it was a bit, it could be quite physical, involved movement and dance and stuff. And I really loved it. And I thought, I really don't want to give this up. But at the same time, doing it for day after day made me really tired.
My initial symptom was like way back when I was 17, although I don't think that I was officially diagnosed then. They did tell me about the MS and kind of what could be expected.
When I went to see the neurologist, it was unfortunate because although he examined me, he seemed to have a problem with nurses coming to him with neurological problems. He made out that I was imagining it, and I was one of these nurses that had read it in the textbook and thought I knew it all.
The first thing I did was I spoke to the guy in the bed next to me who got MS, and I said, "Does it kill you?" Because I wanted to know that. That seemed like a really important bit of information to know. And he said no.
The distances that I could walk became shorter and shorter. The numbness and tingling in my hands became more pronounced, and then it became increasingly difficult for me to manage to hold things, to concentrate on things. I feel that actually the neurologists don't have an awful lot to do with what's happening to me. The last thing that was or said the last time that I went was, off you go and get on with it now. And I quite like, I like my neurologist. I think he's very good. And he's right. What to do is get on with it now, but it's finding out where do I find out all the information. The people who are actually more important to me are the physiotherapists, people in the MS Society, the occupational therapists.
A lot of coping with MS, well, my MS, is having to learn what the pattern of your MS is.
Adjust myself to this new body, my new way of doing things, the places that I go, the kind of things that I do have changed completely. Not the active person. I've always seen myself as an active physical person, and now
Your friends don't really need to do anything unless you ask them to. If you ask for help, then fine. But I think they just need to stay friends and carry on doing what they did before. And so carry on asking you out or having a drink with you or ringing you up or whatever it is they did. And the people who drop you like a brick, I think they're people who think you've changed, or people who are embarrassed because they think suddenly there's this big thing in the way that has to be dealt with. It doesn't really have to be dealt with. You just have to put it on one side and just get on with your relationships.
I do find that friends that I did have are much less likely to visit me now. I'm not sure I get less visitors because I'm more sad than I used to be, or because I drink less alcohol.
But to me, counselling is all about talking to someone who can be a real mirror for you. You know, if you talk to your partner or your parents or your friends, they've all got hidden agendas. They've all got a vested interest in your answers to questions. You know, they don't want you to commit suicide. They don't want you to be depressed. They don't want you to leave. They don't want you to, you know, all that sort of. They do. You know, they want you to. They've got particular answers to questions that they want to hear, or they'll make you a cup of tea, or, you know, this is never mind deal, make you a cup of tea, and that's fine. But if you want to know the truth, you've got to ask somebody who has no vested interest in what your answer's going to be.
The other side of the fence, I'm now having to confront it by myself and see what it means to have to walk into a place and to be different and to be looked at, stared at, which is okay because people will always look at someone who's different, but I've never ever had any problems with people saying anything to me or feeling like I've been picked on. You know, I have experienced some loss, but as compensation, being provided with more dreams of what I could do. I can go out and do that sailing at the MS Society. I could go and do it, which is what I've had chances of sailing before MS was ever a problem to me. And I backed away from them then. But now I would love to do it. It's there, it's being out on the sea, to be free would be wonderful.
For a while, I try to be stubborn, I suppose, and I try and overcome them by saying, I'm not going to let this thing beat me. But then I find that really it's far better to learn to adjust to it and to think of ways in which I can still do these things, but do it in an easier way, do it in a way that I can manage. And so it's a question really of putting systems in place that make life easier, not only for me, but for everybody else.
Hoping for the best, taking advantages of those days when I feel strong enough and well enough to get out and do something. I'll do it now. I won't be obliged to sit in and do the washing and do the cleaning because that day is a strong day. It's worth using to the best and enjoying.
It would have been so easy to use my MS and my blindness as an excuse, if you like, to not engage with life. But instead, you have to say, yes, I'll do it, and then you worry about how you're going to do it and you sort it out.
It is a final justification of why I felt different when I was younger. Because I am different. Yeah.